Ben, it's November and it's still pretty hot, just like the Ohio hockey team.
Yeah, but some teams are starting to cool down like the weather should be. We're talking football, we're talking volleyball, we're talking much, much more right here on Ohio Sports Zone. Welcome into Ohio Sports Zone, joined along the always trusty Alex Utano. My name is Ben Mitchell, and we will start right out on the volleyball court where the Ohio University volleyball team has gotten off to a good start on this year, but has cooled down just a bit, losing 2 weekends ago at Northern Illinois, getting swept 3-0, and then this past weekend dropping their first game on Friday at Miami, getting swept 3-0.
And these are the first back-to-back losses of the season for the team that's 20-5 right now. However, their last game, they were able to bounce back nicely with a 3-0 sweep over Bowling Green State University. Shelby Walker continued to lead the team in kills, 14 during that game, as well as 223 on the season, which leads the team. Abby Gillen doing great with 32 assists and 15 digs, and she continues to have just an absolutely stellar season. And you like to see that big, powerful bounce back after a two-loss performance by this team, because they're a little worried since they didn't win any sets over the course of 2 games for this powerhouse team, but they were able to bounce back nicely. They were calm under pressure, and they got the win they so desperately needed. They made the statement, and now they're back on track.
Well, yeah, you could see the difference in how they performed at Miami and then against Bowling Green the very next day. Miami limited Ohio to a .37 attack percentage. That's 29 kills to 24 errors. Flash ahead one day, and they improved to a .256 attack percentage. That's 40 kills on 10 errors. I mean, that's such a vast improvement. And then you see Miami getting off to an early 20-12 leads in both sets to start out that Friday game. Ohio turns it right around and gets off to a 17-9 start in the first set of Saturday's game against Bowling Green. It's just the polar opposite in what they saw Friday and what they saw Saturday. Dion Webb said after Friday's game their confidence was a little shaken. They needed time to come back and get things going. Saturday's game, he felt like the team took a huge step in the right direction, getting that sweep over Bowling Green and regaining that posture they've always had in the MAC where they're the dominant team and they're going to come in and take care of business.
Well, the volleyball team only has 4 games left. They're actually playing right now against Kent State. We wish them the best of luck, but now we're going to head to the ice and look at some Ohio ice hockey action. The Bobcats recently moved from 9 to 8 in the national rankings after losing 3 of their past 4 games. They were able to go into Lynchburg, Virginia on the road facing rival and at the time number 12 ranked Liberty Flames, and they were able to get 2 big wins, a 6-3 statement victory the first night, and they followed up with a big 4-1 win the next night. And that first game was a little shaky. They went off to a 4-1 lead, let Liberty back in it, but they were able to close them out strong in the third, and then they were able to close it out the next night very well, too. A 3-goal third period sealed the deal for the Bobcats.
Well, yeah, Matthew Hartman talked about what a pro atmosphere Liberty brought. You walked into their arena and you got the Jumbotron above center ice. You got the fans pounding against the glass. Coach Hogan even said at one point the glass kept hitting him in the back of the head because the fans were being so rowdy and getting so loud in the LaHaye Ice Center. So that's just a great learning experience for the Bobcats going into LaHaye Ice Center and getting that pro-style atmosphere, but they just went through a very brutal stretch of play. I mean, the past 4 weeks they're playing against at Iowa State, number 5, Lindenwood, and then you go at Illinois and at Liberty, and they come away 5-2-1. I mean, that's something that you can be very impressed about if you're the head coach of Ohio hockey. I mean, that's a very tough stretch, and they were able to come through it and really set themselves up for this next stretch of play at Bird Arena.
You know, I like how you bring up the fans down in Lynchburg, Virginia, because we constantly hear from opposing teams how amazing it is and how awesome the atmosphere is at Bird Arena. And to go away and play in that atmosphere where all the cheering is against you and come out with big wins against a ranked team is incredibly impressive, and especially when you look at the players who stepped it up. Captain Michael Harris scoring 2 goals and 2 assists this weekend. Patrick Spelsley ends a long scoring drought, scoring his first 2 goals on the weekend since the season opener, September 18th against John Carroll, that 9-0 victory. That was the last time he scored. Then Aaron Alcoma making 60 saves out of 64 shots throughout the weekend. Just a fantastic performance by such a deep team. And then you see some of the youngsters, such as Cody Black stepping up, Lampron, Hazel, all those guys contributing. This deep roster is finally starting to pull it together, and they bounce back nicely after a shaky stretch of play.
Yeah, talk about Aaron Alcom. I mean, he's had a fantastic year, 8-1 on the year, and he has 3 shutouts. That leads the national, he is first in that category when it comes to shutouts. He has been dominating in that factor. 17 goals against on the year, 1.75 goals against average. He has anchored that trio of goalies and has really led by example. They've got a big matchup coming up this weekend against Drexel. Kind of a letdown after you get so many tough performances. You got to come in and play 4-7-1 Drexel. So hopefully the Bobcats can keep up with that aggressive style of play.
7:30 puck drop tomorrow at Bird Arena against Drexel. That's where the Bobcats will play next. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, some disappointing news about football.
Hello and welcome back to Ohio Sports Zone. I'm John Kostas alongside Alex Utano. Alex, the Ohio hockey team has been on a roll thus far this season. They're 4-0-0 after 4 contests against John Carroll and Eastern Michigan, and the games haven't even been close thus far this year. Ohio has outscored teams 33-2. What exactly is the key to this success?
Oh, it's all up and down the roster. I mean, you look at the goaltending, yeah, they haven't been tested, but they've been making the saves that they need to make. There's a reason why they've only let up 2 goals, but you also got to credit the defense. You got new guys like Grant Hazel, Alex Vasquez, Tom Picorni, all doing a great job in their first couple games in the green and white sweaters. And the offense, my goodness, have they been on fire. 2 9-goal games and 11-goal game. The only time they didn't go over 5 goals was a close 4-0 contest to Eastern Michigan, where Eastern Michigan's physicality really held that score close. But once they got under their skin the next game, multiple penalties were taken and the power play really went to work. This offense has been fantastic. And you can also credit 2 youngsters with this success, and that is Matt Rudin and Brian Lubin, 2 very similar names. Matt Rudin in his first year, 5 goals, 3 assists, 8 points to lead the Bobcats in his first 5 games as a Bobcat. Then Brian Lubin, who has played 4 games, has 3 goals, 4 assists so far for this Bobcats team. It's not very often that you see players that are not named Joe Breslin, Michael Harris, or Patrick Spelsey being the top 2 point contenders, but they have found a way so far.
You mentioned that first line being as successful as they have been, not only in the ACHA play, but really all throughout. And this year they're going to see some NCAA play. But again, 2 young guys, 2 freshmen come in, and a lot of freshman defenders came in and surprised a lot of people early on with their size. But I think these 2 guys, Lubin and Rudin, have surprised with their ability to first get the puck in the back of the net, and secondly, they've been extremely physical. They've been really upping the pressure on the forecheck, and that makes the job a lot easier for those big new defenders. Jake Fiala is one of the most veteran players that you have on the defensive line, and this guy's a sophomore.
Well, he doesn't look like a sophomore. He's playing with the attitude and the discipline of a senior, but discipline was not in effect really in that second half of that Eastern Michigan game. In a span of 3 minutes, about the 16-minute mark to the 13-minute mark, there are 3 5-minute major penalties, 7 penalties on Eastern Michigan, 6 on OU, 6 10-minute game misconducts, and in total, 88 penalty minutes overall in that span of time. Now, Coach Hogan said he wasn't too disappointed with all that happened. He just says sometimes you get drawn into that physical play, but overall he was happy with the way that the Bobcats respond to more often than not the antics of Eastern Michigan, but physical play was definitely a big part of that too, as you said earlier. Eastern Michigan really got the body going, and that's what made that 4-0 game so close, but Ohio just needs to make sure they can stay out of the box, because last year that was a big problem.
Yeah, both teams came out with an attitude in that game. When you saw Eastern Michigan, they really wanted to prove that 4-0 loss the night before on Friday night was not something that was going to be repeated. And it was actually a very close game until after a lot of 3-on-3 hockey ended up giving Ohio a big advantage. You don't hear about 3-on-3 hockey too much, although you're hearing about it in preseason overtime hockey in the NHL. But in the ACHA, it's more of a rarity. Something that's been great once again for the Ohio hockey team, because I sound like a broken record over these past couple of years talking about the solid goaltender play. Aaron Alcama's played 2 games this season, and he has 2 shutouts to go along with 14 total saves. Ryan Helshen's been no slouch either. Through his 2 games, he has allowed 2 goals against through 22 shots and 20 saves. That's a 90.9 save percentage. These goalies seem unstoppable, and I know the shot totals aren't high, but a lot of times it's harder to stop a bunch of shots that are widely spread out than 2 or 3 right in a row if they're weak shots and wristers.
Well, there's never a bad time to be bored as a goalie, I suppose, but I was talking to Aaron Alcama after that stellar 4-save shutout that he had against Eastern Michigan, and he said that's the closest he's ever been to becoming bored while on the ice, and it really speaks to the team in front of him that's going to have to keep up this fantastic play heading into this game against West Virginia. That's going to be a good one because West Virginia right now is 4-3. They were swept by Alabama to start off the season, but have rebounded nicely with wins of 4 of their last 5, and they have 2 freshmen that have played outstanding. That is J.P. Sawyer and Riley Horvath, both of which have 4 goals and 5 assists on the season. They have a bit of a goaltending carousel, no number 1 starter so far, but West Virginia historically has been one of the more physical teams, just like Eastern Michigan, so they're going to have to take that same game plan that got them 2 victories this weekend into this upcoming Friday.
Yeah, Alex. 4 goalies through 7 games sounds like more of a problem than something that's good to have, but this West Virginia team, especially those 2 youngsters, have the advantage of having Tyler Conaway on the squad. Conaway has 7 assists already this year. He's been distributing the puck well, and I think he's a big X factor to look out for this weekend.
Definitely, and we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but when we come back, a special Reading Day segment just for you.